Hi guys, since you asked for a few pranayams, I'm just going to give you a demonstration of a couple of pranayams that you should do to improve your lung capacity. The first amongst it is basically yogic breathing. Most of the times we are breathing through our chest, we are not breathing through our abdomen, and that's the most important breath that you need to sort of develop. So I'll demonstrate, just watch, and then practice it as much as you can. So when you inhale, what you have to do is you have to visualize the breath going behind the navel, that is the inhale. And when you exhale, you're exhaling the air through your navel, through your chest, and out through your nose. So just watch. Keep any comfortable meditative pose. You can, touch your index finger to your thumb. That will focus your attention on your Ajna chakra, and just watch. So when I'm breathing abdominally. I'm putting on a mic which will probably also let you hear the sound. So just listen to it. Just observe the movement of the abdomen, because the movement of the abdomen is very important. That is what is triggering the movement of a diaphragm. So basically what you have to do is you have to do diaphragmatic breathing. And diaphragmatic breathing is something that is triggered by your parasympathetic nervous system or your autonomous nervous system, and not by your sympathetic nervous system, which is basically a flight and fight response, in which you're only breathing through your clavicle or your upper and middle thoracic. The air is not going into your lower thoracic, which is where the alveoli is there. So just focus on this first. Get your abdominal breathing right. So I'll just demonstrate once again. To feel your abdominal breathing, just keep your hands on your tummy. Inhale, let the tummy go out. Exhale, let the tummy go in. So just watch. Just a point to note, whenever there's a change in your inhale and exhale, there is a slight pause. So try and concentrate on the pause. So the moment you concentrate on the pause, the transition from inhale and exhale will happen, and the exchange of gases, that is the oxygen, will happen more efficiently. All right, if you understood this, I'll go on to the next one. Next one is a Bhastrika pranayam. Bhastrika pranayam is basically it's called a bellows breath. It's the objective of Bhastrika pranayam is to hyper oxygenate your body. So if you complete your Bhastrika pranayam, what will happen is your body will get hyper oxygenated, and because of hyper oxygenation, you might feel the head become light and things like that. You have to stop doing Bhastrika the moment you feel that your head is getting light and you're getting hyperoxygenated, which could trigger anxiety. So nothing to worry. The way to do it is you have to inhale forcefully and exhale forcefully. The principle is inhale forcefully and exhale forcefully. At the same time, you have to do movements with your arms. So this is a type of Bhastrika, which is very simple for everybody to practice. There are different types and variations of Bhastrika. I'm not going to go into all that. But it is important for you guys to know that a simple Bhastrika, forceful inhalation and forceful exhalation, will sort of strengthen the capacity of your lungs and we'll also open up all the clogged alveoli and the bronchi and everything which is there. So just watch first. I do a couple of breaths, just watch. Keep your hands next to your chest like this. When you inhale, raise your hands up. When you exhale, get your hands to your chest and exhale forcefully. After you complete this, just relax. You'll find that a lot of oxygen has gone into your chest and your head starts feeling light. And I've started already feeling the lightness in my head. Make sure when you're breathing in, you're inhaling forcefully, fully inside so that every part of your lung is expanded. And when you exhale, you are using the moment to completely exhale from the body with force. All right, so I'll just show this thing once again. I'll just do 5 of these. So when you practice Bhastrika, just start with practicing 10 times. Slowly increase based on your capacity. Don't do too much of it. Normally, if you should be able to do Bhastrika for a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes over a period of time, and that should be good enough because that oxygenation of your system will keep you wide awake and also help you, get rid of all the other aspects that are there in terms of low oxygen content, and especially it will help you get over this anxiety of corona which is going around. So I'll just demonstrate this once again. So hands next to your chest. Inhale, forcefully raise your arms up. Exhale, forcefully bring them back to your chest and exhale forcefully. Just watch. After you do Bhastrika, you can actually be without a breath for a few seconds. It can increase to half a minute, 1 minute, or whatever it is, because you don't feel like breathing because your body would have, hyper oxygenated itself. But the next pranayam that you must do is Bhastrika. It's not Bhastrika, but Kapalabhati. Kapalabhati is a very good exercise. It's a very good, pranayam exercise for your abdomen, your chest, and your head. So it will clear off the phlegm. It will clear off your chest. It will clear off your nasal sinuses. It will clear off your sinuses over here. So all the bronchial or sinus related problems will be controlled because of Bhastrika, because of Kapalabhati. So it's very simple. In Kapalabhati, there is only one way action, and that action is exhale forcefully, inhale passively. You don't have to actually focus on the inhale. Inhale will happen automatically because as you expel your air, because of the principle of diffusion, the air will come inside because your lungs have to expand automatically. So just practice this. I'll just demonstrate. Just watch. Normally, when you do Kapalabhati, you have to keep this mudra. If you cannot, basically this is made to make sure that your spine is as erect as possible. If you can't, but just comfortably keep your spine erect. Inhale. Exhale half and then start blowing your air out. So have you observed one thing? I'm completely using my abdomen and my diaphragm to propel the air out of my chest. So you should see this moment, and you'll also realize that I'm not inhaling. Inhaling is happening autonomously. So just watch once again. So what I've just done is, after completing my Kapalbhati, I've taken one deep inhale. After taking one deep inhale, I've just tucked my chin down to retain the air for some time. I'm holding my breath. If you look at all the guidelines that have been published by the doctors everywhere, they say that if you can hold your breath for a minute, that means your lungs are functioning properly. I'm not saying hold your breath for a minute, but increase the time that you can hold the breath so that you know that your lungs are functioning properly. Do not get into stress. Do not do something which you cannot do easily. So Kapalbhati, do it 20 times first, then inhale, retain your breath, and when you want to exhale, just raise your chin and exhale. Second round, again do it 20 times. After you finish 20 times, you finish off with the exhale, just hold, and then thereafter inhale fully, and then retain your breath, and then raise your arms and exhale. So these are the 3 rounds of Kapalbhati which you should do. Slowly increase the count. So generally, if you start doing Kapalbhati, you should do at least Kapalbhati for 30 seconds. Increase it to 1 minute. That will completely, rejuvenate your system. It'll get you awake. Your lungs will start functioning properly. All the phlegm and all the toxins and the carbon dioxide which is accumulated, which is not going out, will also get expelled. Please remember that whenever we are breathing, there is a thing called a dead space, in which the inhaled air, which is already there, which is contaminated, which is full of carbon dioxide, that is not expelled fully. So Kapalbhati helps you expel that unexpelled air so that you can get fresh air back into your system. So I hope no questions about Kapalbhati. I'll just give you one more demonstration. I'll just do it about 20 breaths, 20 Kapalbhatis, and it'll show you how to sort of retain your breath after that and then continue on the next one. I hope this is clear. So in pranayam, Bhastrika and Kapalbhati are considered kriyas. They are not part of pranayam. The next thing that we're going to do is Anuloma Viloma Pranayam, which is nothing but alternate nostril breathing. So normally when we are breathing, we are most probably breathing from one nostril at a time. So you keep changing the right nostril and left nostril. So majority of the air goes from one nostril at a time. After that, that changes, goes to the left one, right one. So every 120 minutes, you will find this breathing that is happening from the nostril changing. So this is body's natural reaction to sort of activate your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The crux is you have to equalize it so that your parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system sort of is balanced, so that you're not always stressed, you're not always on a fight and flight response. So therefore, you need to activate your left nostril also, because the left nostril controls the parasympathetic nervous system. So there are a couple of ways to do it, and there are a number of ratios that are advised by a lot of yogis. But we'll do a simple alternate nostril breathing. In that simple alternate breathing, nostril breathing, you keep a ratio of you inhale 4 seconds, retain 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. Then you then pause, then inhale 4 seconds, retain 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. This is the simple Anulom Vilom. So this is one round. As you go further, you inhale 4 seconds, retain for 8 seconds, exhale 6 seconds. Right? So you have to increase the amount of air, amount of time that you retain your breath, because the moment you retain your breath, that is the time the exchange of gases happens efficiently within the alveoli and your blood channel, which are carrying oxygen from your lungs to your heart, etc., etc. So that is where purification of the blood happens. It's very important to make sure that you have a pause between each breath and you try and retain your breath as much as possible, as much as comfortable when you're doing this pranayama exercise. So just watch the way to sort of do it. This is a mudra that people use. If you can't do this mudra, you can just do this mudra. Keep 3 fingers. Your left finger can be placed on the middle of this nostril where you see a bone over here. So that is where you keep your fingers, so that you, with a little bit of a touch, you can sort of stop your breath, and you can close and open your nostril just by a slight pressure of the fingers. I normally do this. This is the way to do it properly. So your ring finger and your thumb. So when you hold a ring finger in your thumb, so what you're doing is, first, before you start, you're exhaling completely. After you exhale completely, then you open your left nostril, breathe in, retain, then close your left nostril, and then open your right nostril, then exhale. And then when you exhale fully, just close again, just for a pause. Then you open your right nostril, inhale fully, retain, and then open your left nostril and exhale. Just watch this. So it's very simple. Just make sure if you cannot hold your breath for too long, don't hold your breath. It's not important to hold your breath at this point in time because you holding breath is a capacity that you build if you have to build over a period of time. If you cannot hold your breath, just inhale through your left nostril, pause, exhale through your right nostril, pause, inhale through your right nostril, pause, exhale through your left nostril, pause. This Anulom Vilom or alternate nostril breathing, one should do 9 times, 11 times, or you can just have uh, various numbers. Permutation combinations can go up to 108, but you don't have to do that. But just to keep yourself fit, set any number. Just do those number of breaths that you have decided for yourself. Don't do less than 5 because it's not useful at all. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So that's the way you should go up. And count one is one inhale, one exhale, one inhale, one exhale. So inhale left, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. This is one round. So this round you do it 3, 6, 9, 12 times. So once you finish this off, just relax, enjoy the feelings that you get after the alternate nostril breathing. And thereafter, what you need to do is the next pranayam that I'm going to show you is Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is nothing but a breath taken by when you're breathing, you're sort of constricting your epiglottis and making a sound in your throat. The reason why people do Ujjayi breath, it's also called a victorious breath. So people, warriors, when they used to come back, they used to do Ujjayi breath just to show that they become victorious in war. But Ujjayi breath is very important because Ujjayi breath will uh, sort of liquefy all the accumulated kapha which is there in your sinuses, your throat, your chest. Ujjayi breath is also heating, so it will generate a bit of heat. So if you practice Ujjayi, so what yogis normally do, or people when they're practicing yoga or yogasanas, the inhale and exhale in yogasanas is done by Ujjayi breath so that your body gets warmed up very fast. So if you do Ujjayi breath and do Surya Namaskar, within 4 Surya Namaskar, you should feel the breath, you should feel some sweat coming on your forehead and your head. So that's the power of the Ujjayi breath. So it's very important to do Ujjayi breath because this is something which will, keep your lungs open, generate a little bit of heat. And heat is important in this pandemic situation because most of the symptoms that we're getting of the pandemic situation is of the excess of kapha, which needs to be sort of liquefied, which needs to sort of be defeated. So just watch, I'll just demonstrate. It's a very simple thing, breathing. One point which I forgot to tell you is that make sure that your exhale is longer than the inhale. It's very important for your exhale to be longer than the inhale, always and every time, even when you're breathing normally. So this longer exhalation will make sure that your central nervous system, in which you have an autonomous nervous system, in that autonomous nervous system, your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system are balanced. The moment you are stressed, your sympathetic nervous system will start acting. So that will increase your biological aging. It will increase your stress response, and the stress response will cause all and bring down your immunity. So this is a direct relationship with your immunity as well. There is a mantra which when people learn pranayam, they say is pranayamena sakala vyadhi haranam. So if you just do pranayam, all your vyadhi or your diseases can be overcome. So just watch, and the best way of getting over all your ailments is starting doing yoga with Ujjayi breath. So just watch this. Just watch me do Ujjayi breath while I'm doing my Surya Namaskar. So that's how you do it. And in the end, once you finish your pranayama practice any chanting. You can do Brahmari. Brahmari is a chant which is basically you're making a sound with your closed mouth. It's a very relaxing technique. You can either chant an Om or you can do Brahmari as well. So just watch. When I inhale, normally inhale using Ujjayi breath. And when I'm exhaling, I am exhaling through by making a sound. So just watch this. So do Ujjayi breath and Brahmari, basically Brahmari pranayam for again same number of times, in counts of 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever. So these four pranayams start with Bhastrika, Kapalabhati, Anulom Vinom, Ujjayi, and Brahmari. So these are the 5 pranayams if you do daily. I think Corona will be history. You'll forget about all that is happening around. You will be completely okay. But at the same time, doesn't mean you get infected, because infections you have to fight. You have to protect yourself against infections. But where there is a chance of any minor infection, you'll be able to get over it much faster than the rest people will get. Very important to also keep your digestive tract clear. As per Ayurveda, there are three what do you call uh, psychophysiological humors, which are called kapha, pitta, and vata. Your kapha is in your stomach. The place of the kapha where it should be in your stomach. The pitta is required to be in a small intestine. Your vata is supposed to be located in a large intestine. The moment your digestive system gets upset, the vata, which is basically representation by air, will push your entire diaphragm up and it will restrict the space that is available for your lungs to breathe. It's very, very important. So anyone who has these problems of breathing, coughing, sneezing, if you keep your stomach clean, all this problem will not be there, because your lungs will have enough capacity for air to come in and keep your system fine. And if your digestive system is okay, your immune system is also healthy. So guys, take care. All the best. I hope this was useful. Bye. Take care. Bye bye. How do I close this?